Our first destination in India was the city of Dibrugarh, known as the City of Tea. It's not a big city, it's situated right in the top right hand corner, not far from China, not far from Burma. And the reason for going there, well, there were two reasons. The first was it sounded like an interesting city in its own right, famous for its tea plantations, and that was going to be interesting. But secondly, there was a family reason. My father was actually born very close to this city. His father, my grandfather, was a tea planter, and this is back in the British times, and he was born in 1928. So it was a bit of a pilgrimage to go and find out where he came from. Okay, so we flew into Dibrugarh from Calcutta. The weather was very pleasant, and the first hint of trouble was in the airport. We couldn't get a taxi. Why is that? Because the roads were closed. Why was that? Because there was a strike. When does that finish? 5 o'clock. Okay, we could wait another couple of hours till 5 o'clock. So we waited at the airport, and then there were sort of mutterings and murmurings because nobody was going anywhere, and we saw smoke in the distance. What was the smoke? It turned out to be burning tyres. Where were the tyres? They were all over the road. And it transpired that not long after we landed, the airport was closed, the roads were closed, it was getting dark, nobody was going anywhere. It turned out it wasn't really a strike as we know, it was more of a protest, a major protest. And the locals were up in arms about an immigration bill which had been passed, and so they had closed off the roads, and basically the whole place was in lockdown. We did manage to get to our hotel via some back roads, but once we were in the hotel we found out that there was a curfew, the internet was closed down, and that we were not to leave the hotel. Now we thought this might only be for a day or two, but it actually ended up being for 6 days. Now we had only planned on staying 4 days, so that meant that we had to try and change our air tickets, but without the internet that's quite difficult these days. What was supposed to be 4 days of getting out and about and exploring the tea gardens and my old family haunts turned out to be 6 days locked in our very nice guest house, not knowing where we were going or indeed if we could go. Our host, he turned out to be a very nice man who really took great care of us. We were well fed, he let us know what was going on as best he could, and he did take us out when he thought it was safe. So it wasn't 6 days completely wasted. We got out on 3 occasions, twice in the car, and once on the last day we were allowed out by ourselves. But there was a lot of evidence of the riots on the street. We could see that there were black marks all over the roads, there were buildings that were burnt, there were vehicles that were burnt, even some railway stations you could see where they had been burnt. So even though things didn't work out exactly as planned, I enjoyed seeing the city. We did see some tea gardens, and it just means that we've got an excuse to go back another time.
The guesthouse has continued to defy curfew orders imposed because they have been paramilitary in law and order was greater sight of social media. All fight against us to have better media.
Okay, so this is an interesting situation. What's going on?
Very interesting. Well, it's our first day in India. We've had a very long travel day because we spent a lot of time in the airport in Singapore yesterday because our flight did not leave till 3 o'clock in the morning. So we got to Calcutta at about 4:30
In the morning,
and it's now about 4 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're in a place called Dibrugarh in Assam, and we were really looking forward to getting to our homestay and finding a bed, because we haven't actually slept in a proper bed now for 4 nights. But it turns out we cannot get out of the airport because there are strikes on here, so all the roads are closed. So hopefully they open up again at about 5 and we might get to move.
There's quite a strong army presence and no one's moving anywhere.
No.
It's like the whole place is in lockdown.
No, there's lots of soldiers and lots of guns.
And they're driving around on the back of utes with their guns pointing at people to get off the street if they're on the street. So yeah,
so interesting few days coming up, I think.
But we're safe at the airport, we just can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere.
Along with a few hundred other people. And it looks like we've got some burning tyres there which are blocking the road. The police are very interested in this, and we're going to watch from a safe distance. In the meantime, Renee has made some nice friends. That's what happens when you sit on the steps of an airport for 3 hours.
And this is our room at the Bhaskar homestay, and we've become quite fond of it because we've spent a lot of time here over the last 3 days because we've been advised not to go out. So what have we been doing mainly for the last 3 days?
A lot of reading, a lot of cards, and a lot of nationality, as well as our domestic washing duties.
But it's not a bad room. It's got a massive bed, typical Indian mattress, which is as hard as rock. Do have a TV, and through here, yeah, standard kind of bathroom, adequate hot water. So far it's done us okay.
And what's going on now?
Well, it's breakfast time, and we've had breakfast here. Actually, we've had all our meals here in the homestay because there's nothing else open. But the food's been really delicious. Every day we've had something different for breakfast. Although today we've got our second day of bananas and roti and some what looks like aloo gobi and omelettes.
Now what have we got there?
We don't know, but it tastes really good.
It looks a bit like congealed marmite.
But it tastes more like prunes.
The political unrest continues. Our host thinks it's not safe for us to go outside because there are still people on the street protesting. So he's going to take us for a walk just to sort of gauge how safe or unsafe it is. Really interesting because supposedly this news is not being relayed around India or the world. But here, everybody is on tenterhooks. It's quite interesting. And we'll just take our host's lead on this one. We've just been and checked out a temple near to where we're staying, and now we're starting to walk back towards our homestay. As you can see, the streets aren't particularly busy. Parlov, our host, has told us that that's because so many of the roads are still blocked that people are actually staying at home. Can kind of see something happening up ahead. There seems to be a group of people and a bit of smoke, so there's a bit of protesting going on still and something's being burned, but I think we're going to be avoiding that. So, day 3 of Dibrugarh, Renee.
Yep, day 3, and this is only our second time out, and in fact we've only come to the end of the road where our homestay is because there's actually a curfew on at the moment, but they've lifted it between 7 AM and 1 PM, so we thought we'd come and see what's going on the street.
And what is going on, or has been going on?
Just lots of people, bikes, cars, everyone out and about while they can.
you've escaped from your room. What's happening?
Well, the curfew's been lifted until 2 o'clock today, so we're about to go out in the car with our host and check out a few things, I think mainly the river. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it's safe out there.
Yeah.
Give us a little wave. And this is what makes Dibrugarh famous. This is why we're here. It's the tea city of India, and just outside the city we've got acres and acres and acres of tea. And even though it's late in the season, the pickers are picking the final leaves for the year. And I guess this technology hasn't changed a bit in the last 200 years. Everything that is done by hand at this stage. And what's that you've got in your hand?
Well, this is what they're actually picking. They pick 2 leaves and a bud, so that's the bit of the plant that they want to get the tea.
And just handfuls and handfuls of that. Can you smell it?
Can smell it. I'm not picking it.
These are citronella plants. They keep the mosquitoes away.
Ah. Yeah, break it open. Citronella, oh, that's strong.
Yeah.
You've got a good nose.
They are
like
everywhere, so they keep the mosquitoes and pests away.
So what have you just put your hand in?
This is the mighty Brahmaputra, one of the world's greatest rivers. It starts in the Himalayas, works its way down this big valley in Assam and comes out in Bangladesh. 13 kilometers wide at this point. It's the low season in terms of the water level, so there's lots of little islands across the way, but I believe when it floods it's a sight to be seen. It's like the best dip ever. There's a million different flavours.
crazy, no?
That's really
आधे के वाला ब्रेड नहीं होना ये ऐसा काम करो एक चालू yeah perfect
And what have we got behind us?
Well, behind us is the Dibrugarh Club. So it used to be, originally was started by the British, I think, but it was for tennis and polo and drinking gin and who knows what else, but they're currently doing it up again.
So this was the social centre of the British.
And our last trip out with Palov has been here to the market. An amazing array of fruit and vegetables, some of which we recognise and some of which we don't. Come out for a walk on what we think is our last day here, or we hope is our last day here. As you can see, everyone seems to be kind of getting back to normal. A lot of people out and about. We're just going to take a walk now through some of the streets and head down towards the river and see what's happening there.